So I had a little problem with the recorder, and I think the video file got corrupted when I was trying to save. So round one, we're gonna have to do a replay. We lost the die roll, and believe, let's see, yeah, he chose to play. So I think actually, in hindsight, being on the draw was actually better for this deck. We had all our colors, and just kind of started the game off pretty well. At this point, I put him on some kind of Jund aggro deck uh, with this mana base, and it's kind of an archetype in the format. That Gruul War Chant there was big, and it'll prove to be big later in the game as the game goes on. The Spike Gesture here, I decided to trade with it just because I felt like I was the control deck in this matchup. I wanted the game to go long. I had this Karazda Monitor Gruul War Chant, which is not a problem racing a Dagger Drone Imp, especially with currently no extort cards. So we drew, and here we're just playing the Karazda Monitor. Again, it was just important to get that on the field so we could start doing some damage. That was a pretty good draw. Here, I think I decided to play the Cluestone and the Skyjack just so I can kind of surprise him with this, with the Gruul War Chant. And it turned out to be even better because he left his Dagger Drum Imp back to block, meaning that I could play the War Chant and get in for 8. Except he launch partied, so only got him for 4. Again, he's left in this position of playing the Lobber Crew and not being able to block. So here, whenever I did that, I kind of forgot that this had to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So I scavenged so like he couldn't just chump. But I still think it was actually a pretty good play. Maybe playing one of the creatures would have been better, just to put him even more of a clock. But at this point, he's very dead, and I just didn't want to show him a pump spell. So that was game 1. Just basically showing off the power of Gruul War Chant and how powerful that spell is. And going into game 2, this game was absolutely insane. And I think I'm just going to do the turn button. So again, on the draw, I kept this because I had these white spells. I was considering him to be an aggro deck, so the 1/4 and the 2/3 that gained life seemed very good against an aggro deck. Again, I put him on an aggro deck because he was playing Spike Gesture, and then draw a green card. At this point, there's quite a few green sources in the deck, so it's not that big a deal. We ripped the green land that we needed. And at this point, he hasn't played anything, which kind of maybe puts me off him thinking that he's an aggro deck, or maybe he's just having a slow draw as an aggro deck. At this point, I slammed the Snare Squad. I maybe should have played the Slaughterhorn, just because it obviously does damage faster. But again, I was still thinking all I want to do is build up to our Armada Worm, because the Armada Worm Gruul War Chant obviously is pretty tough to beat combination, and there's a Zarichi Tiger and the Hazard Snare Squad basically put me in the best position to make the game go long. Again, here we see his 4th color and an Exava Blood Witch, which threw me for a loop because seeing the 4th color kind of made me think he wasn't an aggro deck anymore, because you certainly don't want to play that many colors as an aggro deck. But this is a very aggro card, so it was kind of confusing. Anyway, we just played this Zarichi Tiger and pass. At this point, we're just trying to get something down to where we can basically get Blood Witch off the table. So, played Saint Collector. Obviously, there wasn't anything in our hand for him to take. Okay, so the play here was I just played the clue. We drew the clue stone, and I wanted to keep developing my mana, and I figured I could gain some life back, as opposed like there wasn't any. I could play Cruel War Chant, but that didn't seem very good. Racing the Blood Witch, and then in this situation I can play the 4/6 or the 4/5 to block the Xava next turn. So, and this is the point where we know he's not an aggro deck, and what he is an extremely greedy 5-color just random card deck. Like this milled the Mind Grind, Launch Party, Spike Jester, and a lot of fixing. So apparently he just got a lot of fixing in his pool and just decided to go for it. The Mind Grind was definitely one of the odder suggestion. Like in a 5-color good stuff deck, you wouldn't really expect to see Mind Grind, but our opponent went pretty deep. So our turn, we just play Rust Scarab, which has obviously gotten a lot better since he played his Deadbridge Chant. So if we can attack, this pretty much is unblockable if he wants to keep this Deadbridge Chant around. If he blocks it, we can destroy the Chant. So the ability went on the stack. I believe he got a land and played the Syndic. At this point, I was worried about a pump spell, so I didn't block, and just thinking this turn I'd play the Wolf Rider and double block it the next turn. So played the Wolf Rider, goes to his turn, and here's where we do the double block. He Arrows of Justice, but that was just enough to kill that Rust Scarab. So now we have to deal with the Dead Bridge, just have him having a Deadbridge Chant. But overall, not that big a deal. So here is where we kind of turn the corner and decide to get aggressive. We're not actually attacking yet because we're at 4 life. We're in a pretty bad spot. But playing the War Chant and leaving up mana to gain some life seemed like the play to me at the time. So again, he triggers. Scab Clan Giant's gonna fight the the life gain, and he gets to extort twice. So at this point, we're up against the wall. We're in a pretty tight spot. Luckily, we drew our white source and we're able to play Armada Worm. And this is where our opponent really makes a mistake. So a couple turns ago, he got Mind Grind back from Deadbridge Chant, and this turn he gets a land, draws an island, and just decides to go for Mind Grind. And you can see he said darn when I think he Mind Grinded for like 8, and left us with 8 cards in library, and we're still not in good shape. 4 life and this board, but let's just go ahead and pray. We rip Collective Blessing for the win. So play Collective Blessing, tap down the Giant, and swing for lethal. And our opponent was pretty surprised, obviously, and because he only had the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage, he was forced to throw in front of this to stop 8 points, getting in for Xaxes 23. So that was quite an interesting round. We got pretty lucky with him mind grinding us right to our Collective Blessing, but I feel like our deck was pretty strong, and that was a pretty fun match to play, to say the least. So sorry about the recording messing up. All the rest of the recording should be good, but thanks for watching, and I'll be back for round 2.